to take my screen off. How are you? My name's Cara. I'm from LoveBristol Church, and this is Make Space. And Make Space is all about makers. It's a place for makers to encourage creativity, to do a bit of reflection and share the spiritual side of life too. So if this is the first time you've joined us, you're very welcome. And also if you're watching the replay, please don't forget to like and share so that other people can see this too. So then, what's going on in your world? Well, in Make Space land with me, things have been fairly eventful this week, and so as often happens, what I'm thinking about and what I do in these sessions reflects some of the things that I've been going on for me during the week. So before I get into that, let me just say what we're going to do today. So as usual, we've got a meditation time, and we're not having a maker chat this week. More on that later. But I will just be talking a little bit about dealing with emotions, because that's what's currently in my thinking. Then we'll have a creative prompt and a blessing at the end. So I hope this time encourages you. Please get involved. So put comments in the comments below or message me, and I'd love to hear from you. So then, what's been going on in Make Space land? Well, I found out last week that my husband Colin is being made redundant after 22 years in his job, which, although wasn't a total surprise, is still, something to deal with when it happens, because it potentially means some quite big changes for us. And so that kind of provokes all sorts of emotions. And a lot of what I'm thinking of is all about how we deal with those emotions. Because I don't know about you, but when you've had some news like that, the next day I was thinking to myself, I was feeling a little bit wobbly, and I was thinking, the world seems like a different place all of a sudden, because there's these possibilities that I didn't know were there. And it changes my perspective on things. I don't know whether you've ever had that happen. If you've had some difficult news, particularly, somebody's had a difficult health diagnosis or something like that, all of a sudden the world seems to change. And I'm asking myself, what has actually changed here? Is it the world that has changed, or is it my response to the world that's changed? And are things really any different? Am I any different to who I was yesterday? Although it feels like things are very different, what is actually different? So maybe it's just me overthinking these things, but those are the kind of thoughts that go through my head. And, emotions, they can be really great, can't they? Who doesn't love feeling joy and euphoria and hope? All fantastic things. But sometimes it can be hard to deal with the negative stuff, which is what we often talk about on Make Space, how we can actually deal with those things. And I think for me, one of the things that I've learned to do over the years is not to be so frightened of my emotions, and to be able to keep things in perspective a bit more, because actually my emotions don't change who I am. They don't change the truth of who I am, and they don't change the situation around me either. So I've learned to be a little bit less fearful and keep things in a bit of a better perspective. And I was kind of weighing up what to say about this, because, as I said, we haven't got to make a chat today. So I just wanted to spend a little bit of time talking to you about that. And I thought, well, I didn't know whether to go into the stuff that I feel as a Jesus follower or not, because I don't know, but at the same time, I wanted you to be able to understand a little bit about where I'm coming from and what my perspective is on this, because it does make a difference to me. So bear with me if this isn't the kind of thing that you relate to, but I just wanted to explain a little bit about how that makes a difference for me, being a Jesus follower. So I hope I can get through this without referring to my notes, but I might need to. So here we go. So, God made us. That's my belief. God made us to have emotions. And there can be, as I've said, there can be good ones and there can be bad ones. But his original intention was that we actually live in like perfect relationship with him. That's what it says in the Bible. And in that state, then we don't actually experience any of the negative stuff. His intention was always that we lived in a place of joy and peace with him when we're following him and being obedient to him. But he loves us and gives us the opportunity to decide whether or not we want to follow him. Now, that's a loving decision on his part, because he's not going to force us to do anything, because that's not loving. He's not a controlling God. So he gives us the decision whether or not we decide to follow him. But as the maker, as the designer, we can choose to follow him and follow his plan. And because he's the designer, he knows what's good for us. So when we follow what he says, it tends to work out a lot better than if we go our own way. And a lot of the negative stuff in this world is the consequence of people, not following God's original plan and original design. So it was never his intention that we should feel those things. It's just that, unfortunately, we live in a world now where those things happen because people do go their own way and make their own choices. And that's one reason actually why God sent Jesus, because Jesus came in human form and he experienced all the emotions of being a human. So he knew what it was like to suffer, and he knew what it was like to experience the negative emotions. But what he did in dying and rising again was that he took all the bad stuff on himself so that we could be put right with God again, that we could be restored to a good relationship with him. So when we accept Jesus, then it allows us to be in that perfect relationship with God again. And our negative emotions, or our emotions in general, no longer need to have any control over us. He brings us that freedom. And we've also got the knowledge of knowing that we live in eternity with him, and in eternity that there is going to be no pain or sadness. That's what it says in the Bible. So from my perspective, anyway, that influences a lot about what I feel about thought, about emotions, about how I handle them. I know that God doesn't want me to experience negative emotions, and he's got my back. He's looking after me. But also that what we go through in this life, and he doesn't promise that it's, that won't be negative emotions. It's just that there's a bigger perspective, and in eternity we'll no longer have to deal with those things, because it will be in perfect relationship again with him. So yeah, I just wanted to share those thoughts with you. If you've got any questions about that, then do ask me. But as I said, I'm human, and during the last week I've experienced a whole range of emotions, and I've had to go back to God and say, please help me with this. Please help me to see your perspective on things. So let's have our meditation time now, which is all about dealing with emotions. So I'll put the screen up. You'll like this picture, I hope. Here we go. Dealing with emotions. So find a place of stillness and take a few deep breaths. Be present in this moment and try and put aside thoughts of what you have been doing or what you will be doing. Spend a few moments in gratitude, being thankful for one or two of the blessings that you've received in the last 24 hours. Review the last 24 hours in terms of the emotions you've experienced. How did I feel when I woke up this morning, as I was showering, as I was dressing for the day? Pass over the fleeting ones, but pay attention to the ones that were more obvious or persistent, and notice the changes. Now I'd like you to just think about the strongest emotions that you experienced. Where were they coming from in you? Were they bringing peace, joy, and growth? Or were they limiting you in your thoughts or behaviour? Choose the strongest emotion of the day and think about the way you responded to that emotion. What impact did this emotion have on you? Did you notice that it was happening? Did you choose how to act on this emotion? Or did you allow the emotion to influence how you think, speak, and act? If you could choose one emotion to live with tomorrow, which would it be? Would it be joy, peace, gratitude, compassion, or courage? Pick one of these and imagine what tomorrow would look like if you lived with it. And this is from the Bible, from Psalm 30. You did it. You changed wild lament into whirling dance. You ripped off my black mourning band and decked me with wild flowers. I'm about to burst with song. I can't keep quiet about you. God, my God, I can't thank you enough. Father God, you made us who we are with our emotions, and you know the struggles that we have with them sometimes, as well as the joys they bring. Please help us to see that our emotions do not reflect the truth of who we are and the truth of who you are. Help us to see that we can bring our more difficult emotions to you and to see the truth of your perspective on them. Amen. there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. Well, I was just thinking as I was reading that through about what my dominant emotion was from the last day. And actually, I've been feeling a bit stressed out about doing MakeSpace, partly because I had decided that when I started it, that I would give it a run of 12 sessions, 12 episodes, and then review it to see whether I should carry on or not. And this is episode 11. And so episode 12 is going to be next week. And it's at that point where I'm trying to weigh up whether I should continue it or not. And also, I need to think about the kind of format it's going to be in too. In the last couple of weeks, it's actually been very hard to get to find people to interview, and that's not because they've disagreed or anything. They've not wanted to come on. It's just that, you know, sometimes for very good reasons, you follow people up and they say yes, they'll do it, and then they don't get back to you. So you know, I've just been left without anybody to interview this week, and that is just a reality, really, of life. And so I've been thinking, you know, well, what format will MakeSpace take going forward? Is it something I'll continue online, or is it something now that lockdown's lifting, I'll just pursue in reality, in real life, as it were, and maybe try and start up a group to support makers in the local community or something like that. So that's the way my thinking's been going about it. And if you've got any thoughts or suggestions about it, please let me know. But as I say, one of the negative emotions that I'd been experiencing was shame. And actually, it took me a long time to recognize what shame was. It's only something that I have really recognized in myself in the last year or so. And it's a feeling of, like, you know, failure, or that I myself are sort of fundamentally flawed in some way, and that are not, you know, not good enough. And I was feeling that about MakeSpace. And when I can look at it objectively, I can see, you know, that's absolute nonsense, and recognize that, you know, it's not what I know that God would want me to feel about myself at all, or what he thinks of me. So I was just having a bit of a laugh at myself this morning about realizing that that's what I was feeling about it. And I know that he doesn't want me to feel that at all. So anyway, there are a couple of things, as usual, that I've prayed about and just asked God if he wants to say anything to anybody who's watching today. And the first phrase that came into my head when I was praying was "further to fly." I don't know whether you know that there's a Paul Simon song called "Further to Fly," and I looked at the lyrics to that, and I don't think they're particularly relevant, but it was just the phrase "further to fly." I felt that there was somebody who maybe feels like they've had their wings clipped, or that there were certain restrictions facing them at the moment, that they didn't feel they could actually flourish in the way that they were designed to flourish. Because it's not that they don't have, that person doesn't have the wings, they do have them, but the restrictions and things around them were feeling limiting. And I just felt that God wanted to encourage them that there is further to fly. And the second one, I can't remember off the top of my head, so I'll just have to look it up. Hold on. Oh, yes, I know. It was about having a new pair of glasses. I don't know whether you've noticed, I've got some new glasses. Still trying to get used to them because they're varifocals, and it's a little bit odd. But it's actually one of the things that God's spoken to me a lot about in the past is like having a really good pair of glasses so that I can see clearly. And without knowing that I was just about to get a new pair of glasses, somebody recently said to me, "I think God's saying to you, Cara, that he wants you to have a new pair of glasses and see more clearly." So that was funny because they didn't know that I was about to get a new pair. But what I felt God was saying to somebody is that he wants to give you a new pair of glasses. He wants to give you a new way of seeing things and a new perspective on things. So I hope that means something to you. And when God speaks, it's all about hope and encouragement. There's nothing about sort of, picking fault or anything like that. It's all about his love. And so that's the intention with which I bring those things. Okay then, so we're going to have a look at creative prompt for this week, and what I've chosen I kind of think is a bit weird, but bear with me. So this is the thing I'd chosen for this week, and it was write and or draw a small comic strip to tell someone something you'd like them to know about you. Now, it doesn't, let me take it off again, it doesn't actually have to be a comic strip. But what it made me think about was the whole process of creative journaling, where you might draw something to do with, what you're going through and what you're processing. I don't know whether any of you have ever had any experience of creative journaling. I haven't really. I haven't done a lot of that kind of thing. But I did a course recently on Skillshare when I was trying it out, and it was in creative journaling. And although I didn't agree totally with the way that they were coming at it, it was quite interesting, and it sort of gave you a framework to think about how you might do some more of that creative journaling. And I thought to myself, this is something I could teach. I could take a class on creative journaling. So that may be one of the ways that Make Space goes forward from here. Who knows? We'll see. But I just want to show you, before we move on, the things that I did as a result of this creative journaling class. Now, the first question was, what inspires you? And I thought other people inspire me, so I did this. Nice and positive. Yeah, we had to use a limited color palette, so I chose those colors you can see there, and so that was good, all well and good, that one. And the one I wasn't so sure about was the second one, where we had to talk about we had to draw even things that we hated, and I thought, oh, this is not good. Before I show you that one, the thing that was helpful about it was that she gave us a structure, and she suggested that we draw a little table, which is in fact like a comic strip, because it gave you sort of 4 boxes to draw in, and it didn't make the blank sheet of paper quite so intimidating. So that is a format that you could use when you do your little drawing about yourself. You can divide the page into 4 boxes and either treat it like a comic strip or just do 4 individual drawings, something about you, something positive about you, and not something that you hate like we were instructed to do. But anyway, for the record, these are the things that I drew that I hate. So I hate reversing. I am in fear of driving down a narrow street with a car coming the other way, where I might have to reverse because I'm pretty rubbish at it. I hate breaking my teeth, which is something that seems to happen to me fairly regularly. I hate unblocking the sink, yuck, and I hate knickers with loose elastic. There you go. So, not what I would choose to do. I choose to do things that I love rather than hate, but there you go. That gives you an idea of the kind of thing you could do for your creative prompt. So a little bit shorter today, but before we finish, just remember that you can like us here, like and share the post, because that enables more people to see it. If you're on YouTube, then you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, And if you'd like me to pray about anything for you, then I'd love to do that. So let me know in the comments or give me a message if there's anything that you'd like me to pray for. So as we finish today, I'm just going to speak a blessing over you and pray that you can deal with any of the negative stuff that you're feeling right now. So here we go. Here's the blessing for the week. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of He who is infinite peace to you. So there you go then. Take care. Have a good week, and I'll see you next week on Monday at 12:30 p.m. on Facebook and on YouTube. And I'll keep you posted about what I decide to do about these sessions. Okay, bye.